So it's July the 9th, 2024, and it's just around 15 minutes after 6 here in New York, Queens, New York. And I came across two articles on my laptop I wanted to share. This is the president of Exxon Mobil in Guyana, Alistair Rutledge. Nigel Hughes is not in conflict with Exxon Mobil. The president of Exxon Mobil Guyana, Alistair Rutledge, on Tuesday said well-known attorney at law Nigel Hughes and his law firm are not in a conflict of interest because he's now the leader of the Alliance for Change political party. According to the Exxon president, we comply with all laws and regulations here and internationally, and we don't believe we have any conflict of interest, any issues, he said, when asked by Danra Waves online news, after he addressed a brief ceremony at Guyana Showbase Incorporated to showcase a cap in stock that is on standby should there be an oil well blown offshore. Mr. Hughes had come in for sharp criticism by the governing People's Progressive Party after he publicly stated that he would not affect the quality of his representation to Exxon and other clients in the oil and gas sector. The attorney at law, who was also not ruled out being the consensus opposition presidential candidate, has also said that if he wins the 2025 general and regional elections, he would only then give up all ties to his law firm. Anyhow, let's get to Denrarius contacting the Vice President Jagdeo and what was Jagdeo's response in respect to the response of the president of Exxon Mobil in Guyana. Jagdeo knocks Exxon Mobil over no conflict of interest position with AFC's boss. The Vice President by Jagdeo on Tuesday said he was unsurprised by President of Exxon Mobil Guyana, Alistair Rutledge, saying that there was no conflict of interest between attorney at law Nigel Hughes and the American oil company. According to Jagdeo, it was no surprise that the representatives of Exxon took the position that Nigel Hughes is not in conflict with Exxon Mobil. Mr. Jagdeo told Danra Waves. When contacted Tuesday, Mr. Hughes said, "I have no comment to make." Also, the General Secretary of the governing People's Progressive Party, Mr. Jagdeo, questioned the rationale for Exxon Mobil's position against the backdrop of Mr. Hughes saying that he would not allow the quality of his legal representation to be affected by his politics. According to Jagdeo, why would you want to get rid of the leader of a political party in parliament who is on your payroll, who has publicly stated that he will put Exxon's interest above that of Guyana, said the vice president. Jagdeo appeared to issue a veiled threat to the oil company, which is the explorer and operator in the prolific Stabroek block. According to the VP, Exxon will hear from the government of Guyana at the appropriate time and place to be determined on this matter, he said. The Exxon Mobil Guyana president earlier Tuesday said there was no conflict of interest between his oil company and Mr. Hughes or his law firm Hughes, Fields and Stobie, although Mr. Hughes is now a leader of the Alliance for Change political party. For his part, Mr. Hughes had already said that as the AFC leader, he would not have anything to do with the oil and gas sector. Instead, the AFC has vested responsibility for hydrocarbons in a three-member committee comprising former Infrastructure Minister David Paterson, Dr. Vincent Adams, who was in charge of the organization overseeing the oil sector, and Professor Shamir Ali, who was a former ambassador to the Middle East. If elected to government in 2025, the AFC leader had promised to shed all ties with the law firm he co-founded. He had said that the law firm partner, attorney at law Andrew Pollard, is responsible for the Exxon Mobil legal portfolio for more than 20 years. In government, Mr. Hughes has said government would establish a petroleum commission. However, Mr. Jagdeo fired back and questioned whether Mr. Hughes would be abdicating his political responsibility for the sector in opposition by putting it in the hands of the three-man committee. He had said that even if in opposition, Mr. Hughes would influence policy through the AFC parliamentarians who are sitting in parliament. And so continue the saga of BHARRAT versus Nigel. I predicted more to come, and this is going to go all the way to 2025 elections. Royal Green here, out.
Members of the press, thank you so much for coming this afternoon. Appreciate your time. Also, good afternoon to those of us who are joining us on the internet. And I want to start off by thanking all the members of the Alliance for Change for that excellent national conference that we had last week. And I thank all the members of the executive. And I want also to welcome those who competed against us, the AFC as one. I will start this afternoon with a statement, and then I believe we go to Doretta after that. I'm going to start with the issue which is in the news, which is the question of conflict and the position also in relation to politically exposed persons. I have noted the statements that my election as leader of the Alliance for Change would create a conflict of interest for me, as Exxon Mobil is a client of the law firm of Hughes, Fields and Stobie, of which I'm a partner, and therefore I presumably will have my decisions influenced by them. I have also noted the statements that I'm a politically exposed person. I'm happy for the opportunity to address both issues and welcome this opportunity. A conflict typically arises where a situation in which concerns or aims of two different parties are incompatible. Example, conflict of interest between elected officials and lobbyists, or a situation in which a person is in a position to derive personal benefit from actions or decisions made in an official capacity. In my capacity as leader of the Alliance for Change, I am not in a position to influence government policy, particularly as it relates to Exxon. I, however, may be in a position to influence AFC policy on oil and gas. In order to address this specific issue, the Alliance for Change has determined that the issue of oil and gas is far too complex for a single oil and gas czar who has no prior knowledge of the industry, who makes a policy on the trot to determine the future of the industry. This is an imperial approach which has no place in a modern, complex society. The People's Progressive Party has singularly refused to abandon this approach, and their failure to establish the Petroleum Commission is proof of this. The concentration of decision-making in the areas of natural resources, finance, and oil and gas in the hands of a single person is highly risky, dangerous, and leads to policy being made up on the trot, all of which is bad for business. Oil and gas policy in modern Guyana must benefit from the considerations and deliberations of a field of appropriately qualified and experienced experts. The AFC intends to follow international best practice. In consideration of these matters, the party has appointed Dr. Vince Adams and Mr. David Patterson to head the Alliance for Change Oil and Gas Advisory Committee with full powers to invite highly skilled technical experts, both locally and internationally, onto the committee. Until we attain government, I will have no input in or involvement with the AFC Oil and Gas Committee. Within the